Jesus Christ, really?
Don't forget to become a member of UnrealEntGaming's Patreon for exclusive manga content and early access. Isn't that right, Seth?
I already joined his Patreon today. Tons of great stuff on there, actually. But did you really have to blow up the city?
Yes.
Blew up the domino. You blew up the dominoes and you're laughing. Do you realize the f***ing crisis here?
And you will be next. Unless you subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications right now.
Or else what? You'll aggressively scream another man's name for several hours?
Kakarot! Kakarot!
Well, although I did not expect for the overall situation to go from bad and becoming this much worse for both Gohan and Piccolo, one can only imagine as to the pain that Universe 15's God of Destruction is looking to put them both through as this 3 Stages of Hell series continues. But even now that our heroes are face to face with a seemingly unbeatable enemy, if they don't manage to find a way and overcome this monster soon, then I'm afraid it'll be the end of both of them as we know it.
As our story now continues back within Universe 15, with God of Destruction Gardox now seemingly annoyed at the fact of both Piccolo and Gohan being shown returning, as with the eerily sinister Destroyer now ensuring that neither Piccolo or Gohan were about to survive the upcoming stage to his game, was when Gardox then went on to respond. And so now, being that I wasn't expecting for either one of you to make it out of the first stage of Hell in one piece, I'm quite surprised to see that you're still both willing and able to go through with this. But nevertheless, as I now want to welcome you both to the second stage of my game, Gardox continues. Now, it's like I went on to mention, so you both better be listening very closely, because if you wish to advance your way onto the final stage of my game and win, then you must utterly destroy your next opponent by any means necessary. Do this, and you will be one step closer towards your freedom. Oh, and I forgot to mention one thing. Since Gohan was the one who was mainly responsible in shattering through the dimensional fabric of the parallel world that you both had found yourselves in order for the second stage to be completed, Gohan will need to be the one who destroys your upcoming opponents. And failure to do so will result in disqualification, with Orange Piccolo responding, well, since it's obvious to us both that it's Gohan who you're mainly after here, why don't you just leave the child out of this and send her back home, since you already have what you've been curious about seeing right here in front of you, Destroyer. Why do you have to stoop this low just to want to get back at Lord Beerus for some lousy comments that he made? And if it's my power that you're interested in, Gohan responds, then leave my daughter out of this, because I'm right here if you want to see it for yourself, Destroyer. Now come and take your aggression out on me if you must, but leave my daughter and everyone else out of your sick and twisted games, Gardox. As it's not so hard for you to understand that if you're that desperate to want to make Lord Beerus' universe suffer, then why don't you go and put aside the others and come take it out on me instead? Actually, on second thought, my Lord, Angel Vodka went on to lean on down by whispering, I strongly think that you ought to reconsider this approach and have them face the perfected version of this monster, for it seems as though the version that they have defeated was an incomplete model, and so therefore, why not just go and have them face off against its intended perfected design, since they would already know on how to counter the previous model, for it would be far more beneficial, my lord, with Beast Gohan being shown pounding on his chest by then shouting, you wanted to know what Lord Beerus' universe was like and if it housed mortals that could potentially rival gods of destruction, right? Well then you're looking at one of them, and so if you truly want to weed out and cut down on Lord Beerus' strongest, then I'll happily volunteer, so as long as you leave everyone else out of this, Destroyer. And so now what do you say? You and me right here, right now. No games, no distractions, just me and you, Lord Gardox, with Gardox responding, well, very tempting, but you aren't going to pride your way into suckering me into a fight just yet, mortal. Or did you already forget about where you are and whose house you are currently in, Saiyan? And so nice try, but I've already made up my mind, and so the game will continue until it has been completed. But don't you worry, because if and only if you have what it takes to complete my entire game and win, will you only then be rest assured that you and I are going to have lots and lots of fun together, especially once you start to see the true nature of my hidden power, mortal. But until then, the girl will remain here with me until further notice. You got that? So if you truly hope to push through, Gardox continues, then you better start to remember as to what you're fighting for, because anything less and you will never see your precious daughter ever again, Saiyan. And so do make sure that you give it your best. And so now remember what it was that I said, for it'll be the only clues that I will give you. And if Beerus truly has been housing warriors that can truly match that of a god, then this next stage shouldn't be that big of a problem for you to go and deal with. And so I'll be watching, or, well, should I rather say that we'll be watching your battle together. Isn't that right, best friend? And so worry not, child, because if your father is truly as powerful as he claims to be, then both he and the Namekian should be just fine. And so in the meantime, you and I are going to resume our previous activities while your daddy goes and handles business elsewhere, kiddo. Trust me, it'll be fun. I can see now that my papa and Uncle Piccolo were right about you, Mr. Green, and you won't be able to keep them down either, Pan went on to respond, with Gardox chiming back in, hey now, you were supposed to be on my side during all of this, and so that wasn't very nice of you to go and say to me, you know, best friend. But if you're willing to make a wager on this upcoming contest, then I'd be more than willing to match you on it, so that way I can see the look on your innocent little face when you go and watch your father and Namekian uncle lose before your very eyes. And so with that said, good luck, mortals, as Gardox's second card was now beginning to glow, because I can guarantee you both that you're certainly going to need it, so you shouldn't have to worry if you're as strong as you claim to be, because this ought to be a piece of cake for you, especially if you're supposed to be some of Beerus's strongest warriors. And so now have fun, as we'll be sure to watch you both from the other side here. And so it's just like Beerus once said, better you than me, right, mortals? Well, best of luck, and remember what it is that I said, or you won't be making it back alive if you don't. So ta-ta, Universe 7. Oh no, damn it! What's he doing? Gohan then went on to question. I can't see a thing, Piccolo. Oh, neither can I, but brace yourself, Gohan, because he's likely going to do what he did before. But then, it was only just within that moment as Gohan and Piccolo now found themselves in another yet very familiar location was when Gohan then went on to respond. Oh, what the? Hey, look. We're back to where we just were on Earth, so it looks as though he sent us back to the exact location where we just battled against Frieza, but where is he? I don't seem to sense Frieza's energy anywhere, nor am I able to see Gamma 1 around here either. So what do you think, Piccolo? You think he brought us back here so that we can continue our battle with Frieza, or what? With Piccolo responding, no, I don't. There's something off about this world, and so just like the one that we were both just in with Frieza, I'm pretty sure that this is more than likely a different dimension than our own, along with the one that we found ourselves battling against this Black Frieza. But the question is why? With Gohan responding, hey, wait a second, look, something's happening all around us, and if I didn't know any better, is it me, or are the objects that are floating all around us the same parts that Cell Max was made of before he self-destructed? What's going on here? With Piccolo responding, yes, you're right, I believe it is, and so I have no doubt that this god of destruction is up to something, and so we'll need to be on guard at all times no matter what. Oh, but the better question is, what is that god planning? Wait, look up there, Beast Gohan quickly went on to then interject. Is that destroyer piling Cell Max's remains together so that he can go and rebuild him, or what? But of course, Piccolo responds, this must be what he meant when he said that we'd be battling against a recent enemy of our past. And before that destroyer came along, Cell Max was the last enemy that we battled against, and so it must be him. Oh, just great. You've got to be kidding me, Gohan went on to shout upon having to see Cell Max reform yet again. But we just finished fighting that monster, and so now we have to go and fight him again? Oh, well, you know what to do, Piccolo. Gohan, wait, Orange Piccolo went on to quickly interject. There seems to be something more that's happening here, because look closely. Even though that god of destruction went and reassembled him, something seems to be very off about this version of Cell Max, because if anything, he would have went and already had attacked us by now, but he hasn't. So there's something more that's happening here that we aren't seeing, to which as Gardox was beginning to oversee this entire situation from Universe 15 was when Gardox went on to then chime in. You know, I honestly find it quite fascinating that this mindless Cell Max had given you all such a tough time while in his incomplete state, and so, if you were barely managing to hold your own against this version of Cell Max, then just imagine what a fully completed and perfected variation of this monster would be like, especially if the incomplete version had already given you enough trouble as it is. And so I'm quite intrigued to see on how you would fare up against him once the playing field is now evened, mortals. And since Vodkill here tells me that this isn't your first encounter with this Cell life form, as I hear that you all had went and found yourselves engaging against some kind of a perfect Cell before, then why don't we just go and combine the better sums of both life forms and see what we end up getting, eh? To which as soon as a black ball of energy was now beginning to envelop Cell Max as Cell Max was beginning to change was when Piccolo went on to then chime back in. Something's not right, and it's very clear by now that Lord Gardox is doing something to alter Cell Max's presence here against us. And so we've got to exercise extreme caution here, because this may not be the same Cell Max which we battled and destroyed back in our realm, Gohan. And look, it's just like I said, because Cell's power appears to be growing more and more with each passing second. Well, the hell with that, Gohan went on to then cry out. I'm done having to deal with this freak, and I'm not about to go and allow for this monster to try and get the leg up on us like how he tried before. And if this is who I'll need to smash through in order to save Pan from the clutches of that god of destruction, then I'll do. Gohan, wait! This is not what you think it is, and I don't think that this god of destruction had intended for us to fight Cell Max again like this, especially not like how it was when we battled against him before, with Gohan questioning, what do you mean? That's exactly what that destroyer had intended for us to face, and so why are you stopping me from going in there and doing what I have to do? With Piccolo responding, it's because if I let you blindly rush in and attack that thing, then you will likely die. Just look closely and watch. Cell Max is changing. And now to add the finishing touches to my pet monster before he's set loose into the wild, Gardox went on to oversee his second card by responding, now let's just find out on how tough you truly are when your back is pressed against the wall of pain, Saiyan. And so this ought to do the trick then, and bingo. Now good luck in trying to power your way out of this one, Gardox went on to snap his fingers. Oh, what's going on with him? Beast Gohan went on to question. I don't know, but brace yourself in case he goes on the attack. Wait, oh no. Gohan, are you seeing what I'm seeing up there? A horrified Piccolo went on to then ask. But this shouldn't be possible, and so I was right. No, that god of destruction did it. He really went and did what we thought would never happen. Oh, great. And so now what do we do? As moments later, to the sudden shock and horror of both Piccolo and Gohan, who are now having to oversee perfect Cell Max having to hover above them, was when Gohan went on to then chime back in. I don't understand. How is that god of destruction able to warp our reality like this, and even go as far as to bring about enemies of our past out like this? It's those cards that he was shown holding, Gohan continues. They are all more than likely alternate timelines and universes where nightmares like this are brought into existence. And so what do you think? You think we can go and take him or what? With Orange Piccolo responding, I'm not sure, but there's no telling on what we're in for, so listen closely. We are up against something extremely unprecedented here, and so every move that we make and every ounce of our strength that we use will need to be counted, Piccolo continues, as this is beyond any challenge that we've likely ever went and faced before. And so if what Lord Gardox had said was true, then this perfected Cell Max more than likely has the same weakness as the other, as Perfect Cell Max now went on to reawaken by then responding, well, how truly pitiful it is to see your faces once again. Oh, how the tables have now been turned, because now that my brain chip has been installed properly courtesy of Universe 15's God of Destruction, Gardox, I want you both to prepare to face an adversary like no other, Perfect Cell Max went on to continue. Especially you, Gohan, because if you thought that I was dangerous before, then wait until we start to engage once again, and I will not be beaten like how I was beaten before. And so don't go and delude yourself with past victories, for I am not the same entity that the two of you have went and battled against before, as I remember everything, and now in my completed form, I am now the very embodiment of power and precision, as I will fulfill my destiny by ushering in a new era, just like I was supposed to do, and all in the name of the Red Ribbon Army and Lord Gardox. It's that monster again, Pan went on to oversee the second card that Gardox was holding by then responding. The one that my papa and Uncle Piccolo as well as the others were fighting to stop, but why does he look like that now? Why are you doing this to us, Mr. Green? Why are you trying to hurt my papa and Uncle Piccolo for like this? With Gardox responding, you ask why? Well, that's because I can. That's why, little girl. And if Lord Beerus thinks that his universe will house mortals that are greater than mine, let alone even go as far as to rival the power of a destroyer, well, that Beerus can go and guess again, and so now sit down. You have no idea on how I've longed for this moment, Perfect Cell Max went on to stick his finger out by then responding, for this is now a moment where I stand before you all not as just a mere project or an experiment, but as your superior. For your actions have only fueled my evolution, my ascension to perfection, and now you will face the consequences of your arrogance. Now, whether one of you dies or both of you dies, neither of these outcomes will bother me, and so now watch. Oh no, come on, hurry and hang on! Beast Gohan went on to grab Orange Piccolo by then dashing towards the sky. He's going to level the entire field below us! In which within that very moment, as a gigantic explosion was now shown having to overtake the entire landscape below, was when Gardox was shown having to oversee this by then responding, whoa, now that was a good one, I gotta say. Well, talk about a close call, eh? Well, so I guess your papa really did go and save the day, because they likely would have been goners if he didn't act quick enough and grab the Namekian and escape like how he did. Oh, damn that monster! We barely made it out of there alive. Are you okay, Piccolo? With Piccolo responding, whoa, nice save down there, but yeah, I'm fine, but listen, if this Cell Max is anything like the last one, then we have to, but then, it was only just from out of nowhere with Perfect Cell Max shown having to interrupt Piccolo by punching Piccolo in the face was when Gohan then went on to shout, what the heck, Piccolo, no! I think that's quite enough talking out of you, Piccolo, for you are of no use to me in this fight, nor are you worth sacrificing any of my time for. But before Beast Gohan had the chance to go off and try to grab Piccolo, was when Perfect Cell had then decided to grab onto the back of Beast Gohan's shirt and having to pull Gohan back by then responding, oh no you don't, boy, and just where do you think you're going? You and I have a score to settle, which we will go and settle here and now, Gohan. Oh, what's wrong, Gohan? Has your magnificent power that you used to destroy me with leave you? With Gohan responding, damn you, and for you to stand there in your so-called perfect new body only goes as far as to capture the same old arrogance that always led to your downfall, and I see right through it all, Cell. So you may think that you have achieved some new kind of ultimate power, but all I see are the same mistakes that you always repeated throughout our battles. With Perfect Cell Max responding, oh really now, is that what you think is happening happening right now here between us, Gohan. Because if what you are saying is actually true, then why are you having such a hard time in hitting me, Gohan? What happened? Certainly you can't be that tired from fighting those Gammas along with my incomplete self that it's worn you down this much now, has it? Or maybe, perhaps you never had it within you to begin with, which is why you are all out of steam, Gohan. Doesn't it hurt to know that just like when you were a little boy, that without your friends alongside your father to help you stop me, you just can't simply go and do it on your own, to which as Cell was shown having to knee Gohan in the stomach before uppercutting him was when Cell then went on to continue, because I must admit that although this beast form or whatever it is that you call it was certainly something that caught me by surprise, I can only go as far as to assure you that there will be nothing that you can try and do that will catch me by surprise like that again. Mark my words. And since I was given a second chance by this unknown god of destruction who goes by the name of Gardox, whatever he is looking to gain out of you isn't anything that he should be worrying himself over, because without your friends and without your family to aid you in battle here against me, Gohan, you are nothing more than a helpless victim just waiting for death to come knocking at your front door so that it may come and finally take you away. And guess what? It's finally here, Cell continues, for you should have remained as far away from the Red Ribbon base as you could, but since you and I have a very deep and rich history, then let this prove to that god of destruction that you are just as worthless to me as you'd be to him, Gohan. And you know, come to think of it, Cell went on to continue by having to pull Gohan forward, I can't help but notice that your power is slowly starting to drop little by little. Well, it looks like this beast form of yours is much tougher than I assumed that it would be, but this too will not last very long, because while you continue to grow weaker, I continue to remain the same. And so what do you think, Cell questions? How long do you plan on lasting out here against me, Gohan? With Gohan responding, You have no idea on how far I'm willing to go, especially if it involves the safety of my daughter, Cell. And as for how long you think I'm going to last out here against you, well, the answer is simple, because as long as I need to, if it means putting you down. In which, surprisingly enough, with Gohan shown having to headbutt Cell away and having to create distance between them, was when Gohan then went on to continue, so whether you're perfect again or not, nothing that you do is going to stop me from reaching my daughter, Cell. Oh, are you rotten Saiyan? And what was that sudden surge of energy that I just felt that was coming from you, Cell questions? Well, so it looks like you still have some more gas in that old tank of yours after all. Well, I hope that it will last, because the punishment that you have coming your way is going to be needed for it. With Gohan responding, yeah, we'll see about that, but just know that if I was able to destroy you twice before, then you can make no mistake about the fact that I will do it again, no matter what it takes, because one way or another, if it means that I'll need to lay my life down to rescue my daughter, then I'll do it. And so now come on and let's do this. As it was only right then and there now, during that moment, where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super story of the Resurrected Fallen Gods of Destruction, the Universe 15/Universe 16 Saga Manga Chapter number 5 special then comes to a close.
Actually, I'll go and take it from here, as I do want to go as far as to address something with all of our dear viewers at the moment. As before I go and give you the following information, if you aren't already a member of Unreal's Patreon community, then you are truly missing out on so much without you even knowing. As not only is the next episode already on the page, but if you want to support all of the content that you see and gain access to tons of exclusives along the way, then we do encourage for you all to become members of our Patreon community today, for we will link it all down in the description box below and pinned comment section. Now I believe it's safe to say that the entire situation that surrounds Gohan is a very dangerous one, especially when considering the fact that with Lord Gardox reassembling and rebuilding Cell Max and now creating a perfected variation of him, one can only imagine as to how much power Gohan has left if he hopes to overcome this enemy. And if there's anyone who has the strength to do it, I have no doubt in my heart and in my mind that it's Gohan. And so you do not want to miss out on what is about to take place next. So we hope that you all enjoyed. As before you leave, do make sure to give this video a thumbs up by smashing that like button on your way out, as as well as subscribing to UnrealEntGaming's channel in case you are new around here. We thank you all for watching and hope you all have a wonderful day, everyone, as we'll see you all in the next one.
Hello! Did you know that you can stay up to date with the latest Dragon Ball content by simply subscribing to UnrealEntGaming?
Also, don't forget to follow on these social media platforms, you sexy son of a bitch.
Roshi!
Silent Cell, me and the fans are having a moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick Dragon Ball content. Quality reviews with flawless editing. Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You dirty bitch.
Roshi, the fuck?
God damn it, I need them to subscribe, Cell.
And we're demonetized.
Yeah, screw it. Let's cut to the video.